Mr. Electric, Shawn the Pause, still not thrilled, and of course, Jesse Friedman, your Thunderfish, is also here. Guys, this one was a tough loss to stomach. Zac Gallen was not very good today, and we will get into why he wasn't good today. It wasn't all Zac Gallen's fault, but this bullpen just once again absolutely imploded. What are we at now? 18 games in a row where the Diamondbacks bullpen has allowed one earned run or more.
Well, they didn't allow any runs yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
Technically, the streak is over.
Snapped. Yay.
18 out of 19.
We start a new streak because today was atrocious for this bullpen. And even though, like I said, Zac Gallen wasn't very good, this team still stayed in it, right? Like there was still the answer backs in the offense. There just wasn't much answer back in the Diamondbacks bullpen. They gave up 6 earned runs today, and the Diamondbacks lose the game 11-7.
Yeah, there was no rally monkey at the stadium. That was a problem.
Yeah, this one's on Cogs. Cogs, you need to add a loss in your loss column on your sheet there. But no rally monkey. No one was coming to save this team, and hopefully there is some help on the horizon with the trade deadline looming in less than a week. But at this point, looking at this bullpen and the performances they've had as of late, this has just been awful. Today's game was once again one of those instances where nobody in the bullpen seemed to be able to throw a competitive baseball.
Yeah, the team just feels like it's missing that spark that it had for that spark that what is that spark, that drive, that electricity. We give you a place to plug it in. Talking store. Resorts and casinos.
That's why Mr. Electricity right there.
But it just that like there's not the team just doesn't feel like there's much to it. And I was hoping that last night it would be kind of like a kickstart and they would kind of get that energy back, but it just didn't really seem like it. And it took a while. Obviously, like it took a while for the offense. Kind of. I mean, they had 2 runs in the third, I guess. But like, I don't know, man. This just is not fun watching this team anymore at this point.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks just they left so many base runners out there throughout the course of this game. 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Just continuing a recent trend on that front. And yeah, I mean the game yesterday was great. It seemed like a huge pick me up for the team as a whole. Corbin Carroll coming through and in that big spot with a 2-run triple. And you felt like maybe that's the turning point. Maybe the D-backs are getting to the other side of this skid. A thought that some people maybe had last week as well when the D-backs took the first 2 games against the Atlanta Braves in that series. It felt like the skid was maybe over then, but the skid it's just not over. It just continues to go on and on and on for this Diamondbacks baseball team. I believe they are 5-14 now in the month of July. It has been all bad. I mean, it has been outside of that Braves series. I know the D-backs took a series from the Pirates before the All-Star break. This has just been a brutal month across the board.
Post All-Star break, the Diamondbacks run into this. 18 of their first 24 games are against opponents with a combined winning percentage of .557. What makes it worse, 7 of the 8 opponents they face after the All-Star break have a .500 record or better. The one team that didn't, the St. Louis Cardinals. So things don't get better from this point going forward, and the Cardinals really were a team. I don't want to pat myself on the back too much because I did say that they are a team that's hot right now, and of course that's when the Diamondbacks catch them. But this was a team that the Diamondbacks needed to take care of business against. Now, Zac Gallen was not good today at home, which is obviously uncharacteristic with how good he has been. But I don't feel like this was entirely Zac Gallen's fault. We like to throw a little blame every once in a while at a home plate umpire here or there, but we don't tend to fall back on that too often. However, home plate umpire Clint Vondrak was flat out just awful behind the plate today. Let's take a look at some of his strike calls or his ball calls or his lack of strike calls. This one's egregious. This one makes me want to run out to the field, which is 2 blocks away, and fight this man. And I'm a more reasonable human being than that. I don't want to fight an umpire. But I feel like someone needed to over this call.
Yeah, I mean, when this happened, I was like, oh, this is going to be a day, and it was a day.
It was a day.
And I mean, I know we have other graphics. Like, it was just it didn't feel equitable at all. But I mean, these are like, especially the second pitch there, that first ball is like that's a strike in every way, shape, and form. And so is the second ball as well. But the second one, it's not often you see pitches that are well within the interior strike zone, not even touching a border, be called a ball.
This is that was so awful.
It was egregious, and
egregious.
it was it seemed like it was all game.
I don't think Jose Herrera did a great job framing at least one of those pitches. I think that was part of the situation.
You sound like half of our Twitter followers right now, Jesse.
Yeah. I mean, they did have a point on that, but I mean, we have another graphic that shows Gallen's strikes, just Gallen's pitches for the entire game.
Things being equitable.
It's just a lot of blue there in the inside of the strike zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were definitely multiple missed calls in this game. You don't really see Gallen getting any called strikes out of the zone. If we flip over to Jack Flaherty, things look a little bit different. You see a number of pitches on both sides.
Not a single
of
blue
the strike
ball in the
zone.
zone.
Lord.
And you don't see any pitches
Good
in the zone
Lord.
that were
That's egregious.
It's egregious. I'm very
That's
interested
egregious.
in this
Clint.
umpire card.
Clint Vondrak, you should be ashamed of yourself.
The Diamondbacks, frankly, did not lose this game because of the umpiring.
No,
they
did not.
The Cardinals' offense vastly outperformed the Diamondbacks' offense in this game, and the Cardinals' bullpen was, I guess, not that much better than the Diamondbacks' bullpen, given the way that things ended. But, the D-backs scored a few runs late, which didn't really seem to matter a whole lot at the end of the day. But the D-backs' bullpen gave up 6 runs in this game, when the game was still interesting for a while there. So,
I mean, like we said, Gallen wasn't great. Gallen gave up 6 in 6 1/3 innings pitched. He gave up 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. His strikeouts looked. He did have some whiffs there. His strikeouts did look a bit look angry because he was frustrated with the strike zone and some of those the lack of calls he was getting. But when Gallen left the game, as much as we want to say he was not good today, he had his rare bad outing at Chase Field, the Diamondbacks still had a chance to win. And had the bullpen been able to hold the Cardinals, this would be, right, theoretically, a 7-5 ball game, right? I guess you could say the same thing about the Cardinals side of things. If their bullpen could have held, whatever. But throw the entire bullpen in the trash. 6 earned runs in 2 2/3 innings pitched. And, I mean, there's plenty of times where you want to blame it on one of the guys in the pen. Kyle Nelson gave up an earned run, and he also gave up the run.
He gave up a 2-run homer.
2-run homer, so Gallen got charged with one of those. Then McGuff gives up 4, and Tyler Gilbert gives up 1. I think McGuff had a runner on that Tyler Gilbert let score as well. But regardless, it was everybody. Nobody could get an out, it felt like, out of the pen, and it was a very frustrating day to watch. Once Gallen did leave the game, it was also frustrating when Gallen was still in there because of the way that this game was being called behind the plate. But more than anything, I think it's the lack of equity, like Shawn said. It's the fact that when you look at those 2 strike zones, you can't tell me that this umpire was just calling, a squatty strike zone, or he was calling it this way or that way. That is an egregious amount of calls in the favor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And like Jesse said, obviously it doesn't it's probably not why they lost the game. But at the same time, especially with like that Lars Newbar at bat being early on in the game, like you hate to wonder about like if Zac Gallen's frustration affected his performance and stuff like that. Like you would just rather this not be a element to the game that you even have to talk about, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's so egregious that you have to address it.
You keep saying it doesn't matter. What if Gallen was better? Like, what if Gallen was better? What if Gallen wasn't getting these calls missed on him? And what if Gallen was more efficient and he didn't give up 5 earned? What if we saw Gallen go out there and give up 1 earned? I mean, I get it. The bullpen still gave up 6, but like, I mean, there might be some sort of cascading effect if the Diamondbacks were in a better position to win, where maybe Lovello manages the game differently, or I don't really know there, but I just think like
maybe if he doesn't have to like face an extra hitter in the first inning, like maybe he has some more left in the tank, toward the end of the game when he gave up that 4th run. But at the end of the day, I mean, Gallen just wasn't all that great, and I think the D-backs offense, even though they did score 7 runs in this game, you could make a case that the offense actually was pretty good. And I don't know if I really buy that. I mean, at that point,
stranded a leadoff triple in the first inning.
They stranded a
leadoff triple. They stranded a Jake McCarthy leadoff double later in the game. And by
they were 2 for 16 today with runners in scoring position. 2 for 16.
And by the 9th inning, I mean, it's 11-4 game. Obviously, the Cardinals aren't going to their best relievers in that situation. So, scoring 3 runs there isn't really the same as scoring 3 runs earlier in this game when it was still close. So the offense continues to flounder a little bit. There are moments where it's like if Corbin Carroll or Christian Walker don't do it, it's not going to happen. Jake McCarthy did have an outstanding game at the plate. He was 3 for 4, 3 for 5, couple singles, a double. I think there was also a hard line out in this game. So good to see him have a game like that. But up and down the lineup, the D-backs just need to get more from this offense.
You did mention Corbin Carroll, and of course, Corbin Carroll continues to deliver. In this series, he delivered the game-winning hit in yesterday's wonderful win, which, by the way, shout out to our PHNX family that came out for the takeover event. I think last night was one of our best takeover events that we've had as far as a PHNX Diamondbacks family. The food was great. The atmosphere was great. But more than anything, those seats that we got out there in 144 sitting underneath that home run porch, that was a legitimate party we had going out there. So I am so incredibly thankful for those of you that came out. I hope you guys all had as good of a time as we did. And watching Corbin Carroll win that game with that pinch hit triple was quite the experience to go through. And Corbin Carroll's making history. He continues to make history. He got his 30th stolen base in this game, and now Corbin Carroll has 21 home runs and 30 stolen bases, making him just the 6th player in MLB history to go 20-30 in their rookie season. Today he was 3 for 4 with 3 runs scored and a walk, and he just continues to be an incredible baseball player, a player that you just are sincerely thankful is a part of your organization. He is just a great guy. He's a humble guy. It's great to talk to him. And, again, last night he talked to us about, coming in that pinch hit situation and just kind of trying to make something happen. And I think it's the first time I've ever even heard him say that he hit the ball good. I think he was like, I put a good swing on it, and I was like, was that a complimentary thing he said about himself? Because Corbin Carroll, he doesn't do that. He doesn't talk good about himself. But 6th player in MLB history. An interesting fact: the Diamondbacks actually have had 2 of the 6 players that went 20-30 in their rookie season as part of their organization. The other one being Devin White. So there you go. There's a little piece.
Diamondbacks legend, Devin White.
I couldn't believe looking him up that he only played 1 season for this team. I swear my memory was like of him being just a staple, the foundation of this team. Nope, not the case.
It's a good season.
Yeah, he did have a good season. But
Chris Young was really close. That was my guess when you asked me who the other guy was. Yes. A D-back was. He had a 30 homer, 20 stolen base season, not a 20 homer, 30 stolen base season. He had like 27 stolen bases in 2007. So he was right there.
Well, I'll tell you this much: Corbin Carroll, he's gonna threaten to maybe make it a 30-30 or maybe even a 30-40 season with the production he's had, if he can continue to produce like he has. But I will tell you, I'm still very confident about my futures bet on Corbin Carroll winning the Rookie of the Year. He is our Roy. He does live a life well lived. And you can get down, probably not on great odds on Corbin Carroll, but who knows? Maybe these odds makers start seeing Ellie De La Cruz and have those pass him by. Like he's doing stuff that only certain guys have done in history. So I would still put my money on Corbin Carroll to win the Rookie of the Year. You can also put your money on Nerfy Fridays over at BetMGM Sportsbook app. All you have to do is be an existing BetMGM Sports user, and it's this easy to get the promotion. You just opt into the promotion. There's a no-run first inning bet. Then you place it on any MLB game by betting no on the will there be a run in the first inning market. If your bet loses but only 1 run is scored during the first inning, you will receive a bonus bet equaling your stake up to $25. And again, remember, this is only on Fridays, so do not miss out on Nerfy Fridays over at the BetMGM app. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live, but for our Arizona audience, you will place your first bet offer and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if it loses with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details, and now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 Nevada. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Kansas, Nevada, New York, or Ontario.
Well, we thank you guys for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, even if you are from Ontario. We especially welcome you in. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do so. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever we go live. Leave us a thumbs up just for our self-esteem. If you're listening on the audio podcasting side, leave us a review. We always appreciate you doing that. Make sure you just subscribe over there as well. And like I said, we loved hanging out with our diehards last night. If you haven't signed up for a diehard membership yet, join the family. Not only will you get discounts on events like our takeover event we had last night, but you will get a free piece of merchandise from the phnxlocker.com and all 20% off all future purchases. You also get benefits from our partners like a Mountain Mike's gift certificate for $50. You get a ranch card from Dobson Ranch Golf Course and so much more. You get access to our members-only Discord lounge, Jesse's newsletter, Full Count, and all the newsletters for all of our writers around here, and everything that we have to offer, including, again, that Discord lounge is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan. So join us today over here at PHNX and join us, become part of the family. Jacob Nevin in the comments said, did you guys see Ahmed Rosario as a Dodger? Yes, we did, and we hate it. Mm-hmm. We don't like it. And the Dodgers, despite what Mike Hazen says about the trade market and things not really happening yet at this point, the Dodgers, once again, seem to be making things happen, and that's just what the Dodgers always do. But before we get on to trade deadline talk and more things that might dishearten you, let's take a look at the numbers for this series between the Cardinals, because, boy, this looks ugly. For both teams, I guess, in some ways, right? Starting pitching ERA, awful for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Of course, you know, we had Ryan Nelson have that fairly bad outing, and, you know, Merrill Kelly, outstanding. Merrill Kelly was absolutely outstanding for this team, but Zac Gallen also contributed to this ERA being so high.
The Diamondbacks just really are struggling in two primary areas right now. One of them being relief pitching and the other one being hitting with runners in scoring position. Mm-hmm. I guess you could argue that there's a third one, which is also starting pitching. They're basically struggling in everything.
In every way, in every
sense.
feasible way.
But yeah, I mean, 162 with runners in scoring position compared to 400 for the Cardinals. Like, that's the series right there. I mean, the D-backs had more hits in the series than the Cardinals did. They had a number of base runners, especially in this game today. And yeah, it's not really that they're not getting opportunities, they're not getting guys on base. It's just that they're really struggling to get guys in. And sometimes you don't even need a base hit. There were multiple situations in this game where the D-backs didn't need a hit in order to get a runner home, and they weren't able to come through in that way either. So the lack of being able to hit in those moments where it really counts has really hurt them. And yeah, I mean, the D-backs had 2 out of their 3 best starters going in this series, right? Like, if ever a series were lined up for the D-backs to come out well, I mean, having Gallen and Kelly on back-to-back days had to feel pretty good. But unfortunately, Gallen wasn't himself today, and he's been good lately, but he hasn't been great. He's given up 3 runs, I believe, in 3 straight starts. He's not really been the ace-type pitcher that we've seen in the past.
Really, I see some comments about the Dodgers getting below-average players and things like that. I think the point is that the Dodgers are the Dodgers, right? You know, like when a guy has a 400 OPS, he goes.
They
to the Dodgers
were below-average players.
They were below average, but they're going to the Dodgers, right? You see how that works, right? Well, and I will say that there's a lot of bad things. You know, again, we've talked about a lot of trade deadline targets. We've talked about potentially mortgaging the future for some of them, and I think the biggest thing that this series right now shows is that they have a lot of weaknesses. They have a lot of areas of concern to address, and right now there's not just one magical trade besides Shohei Ohtani that's going to bring everything they need over to this team, and even then, I say that with jest. Mike Hazen was asked about that, and he literally laughed off the idea of Shohei Ohtani being on the Diamondbacks' radar, despite what MLB trade rumors says. So let's.
He laughed off the idea of talking to fans about it around the stadium.
That's true. Like as if
he didn't really address any discussions the Diamondbacks are having along those lines.
Yeah,
but
Mike doesn't actually walk around the stadium, believe it or not. That's not something he does. So he doesn't have.
What GM in their right mind would just go prowling around the concourse 5 days before the trade deadline?
Padres GM.
I don't know if he would be safe down there right now.
I don't know about that.
Like, based off what we're seeing on Twitter, I'm not sure he would be safe walking around there.
That's probably true.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, we know who you guys want fired and everything like that. But this series, again, not a great series for this team. And let's be honest, this was one of the easier teams that they had on their schedule for the foreseeable future. So the Diamondbacks definitely have some things to figure out, and they need to figure it out soon. Otherwise, this things could go south for them very quickly. Luckily, as Shawn will attest to, all the teams right now in the National League are pretty much bad. Like almost all of the teams. So at the very least, when we lose, everybody else is losing, and things are not getting out of control as far as the Diamondbacks position for a wild card spot, at least for the time being.
Yeah, so, I mean, technically speaking, they're not sitting in a wild card spot right this second, but I mean, yeah. San Francisco 4-6 in the last 10. Philadelphia is 500 in the last 10. Miami 2-8 in their last 10. Watch out for the Cubbies.
Yeah,
7-3 in their last 10. But yeah, I mean, no one's by like really putting any kind of separation as far as the wild card race is concerned. This is not the AL where it's a matter of like a lot of good teams, it seems, fighting for wild cards. A lot of teams that are just not playing good baseball right now. So again, I don't want to by any means discredit how poorly the Diamondbacks are playing, but like it's still not really having too much of an effect on their like playoff chances as far as like you said, as the rest of the teams are concerned. So I guess if there's a time to suck, it's right now. Because if they can figure it out soon,
if you were good, you'd be able to put some distance between you and these teams.
Yeah, but if the other teams were good, they'd be putting a lot of distance in between them. So. Yeah, I mean, not good, but it could be a whole lot worse. And if they figure it out before these other teams, then there's still a chance for this season to be a good one.
The Diamondbacks welcome the Mariners to town this weekend. Then they go to San Francisco for what's a very important series with the San Francisco Giants. And our very own Jesse Friedman will be in the Bay Area for that. So make sure to keep it locked here for as much as we can give you in regards to that. Then they have the Twins, Dodgers, Padres, and Rockies, and then Padres again, and then Rangers, and then Reds, and then Dodgers, and then Orioles. Yeah, things are bad, folks. Things are bad. And they might even get worse if this team doesn't find a way to be competitive.
Did I hear Rockies?
What's that? Yeah, there's the Rockies. Yeah. Rockies are the only reprieve peppered in there. And no offense to Patrick Lyons or Susie Hunter, but I hope they beat the shit out of your team.
It was so funny, right? Because right near when we started the show, there was a DNVR sent out their tweet for their post-game show. And it was 2 blown saves spoil a series win against the Nationals. Not to mention many more road homers. Like, it could be worse. Could be worse.
Anyway, well, we'll make sure that we'll stock Jesse up with plenty of snacks when he heads out to San Francisco. But of course, make sure you stock up with plenty of snacks at your local Circle K. Stop on in for your best coffee, beer, and snack selection and premium gas. Of course, now that you got me and Shawn both on the gas pumps, it's also the best in-house premium gas entertainment. So stop by Circle K. Polar Pops stay cold longer, and we will not be happy with you if you don't enjoy yours. So make sure to do that. Also, get yourself some Powerades. They have 4 of them for $5. And on top of that, you'll also be entered into a drawing to win Shawn's car. I don't mean we're literally going to take Shawn's car away from him because we need him to get to work. But his dream car, the 2023 Ford Big Ben Bronco SUV that you can get down on. Hopefully one of you win it. Hopefully this guy wins it. I'm rooting for him. Are you eligible for this?
Probably not, but I'll lie.
We'll lie. We got some burner.
My mom will win it.
There we go. You can also get buy 2 get 1 free Monster Energy drinks, as well as buy 2 get 1 free Beatbox hard tea. So make sure you're not missing out on all of this great stuff right now. Text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy 1 get 1 free offer on 32-ounce Polar Pops. Again, head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. And while you're there, pick up the official craft beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And that is our friends at Four Peaks. They have a Rattle On Red Ale, which of course, is definitely as smooth as Corbin Carroll's swing, and you can get that at their Four Peaks Draft Room at Chase Field. It's located on the suite level, and it is an absolute elite place to watch a baseball game from. So if your tickets suck wherever you got them in the ballpark, don't even worry about trying to relocate. Just get some great food down at the Four Peaks Draft Room, get some beers, and enjoy a baseball game. You can check out their calendars at calendar at fourpeaks.com/events to stay up to date on everything Four Peaks. Make sure to check them out online at Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. We do have some notes from today's press conference with Mike Hazen. I'm still a bit grumpy about it because I got a terrible position behind very tall gentlemen. So
that was a chaotic scrum.
It was one of the most chaotic scrums we've ever had in Diamondbacks history.
Good thing I'm tall.
Yeah, well, Jesse got an inside position. I was with the cameraman. I had to get out of the way for a cart driving by, and then the cameraman just kind of like molded together, like like as if I was never there in the first place. So, but it was kind of an important press conference because this was the last time we will get a chance to talk to Mike Hazen until the trade deadline. And we know that the D-backs are still interested in being buyers. We know that this week does determine maybe how aggressive they are with their offers or how aggressive they are in meeting the demands of teams that they're trying to negotiate with. But I do know that the Diamondbacks are still buyers, and Hazen had some comments in regards to that just kind of reiterated where the position that they're in.
Yeah, Hazen said, we want to improve this team. I want to improve this team. I think this team has earned that over the last few months. If you step back year over year from where we're standing today, we don't want to be in a position to waste opportunities that may be in front of us. And then he said later on, I think giving this team an opportunity to play in a pennant chase is extremely important.
Right.
So, yeah, the Diamondbacks are buyers. At least at where we stand today, before the game started today, the Diamondbacks were buyers. I guess maybe that could change in the next few days, depending on how the Mariners series goes over the weekend. But, yeah, even though the Diamondbacks have sort of been in a free fall over the last few weeks, they're still in a pretty good spot. And those other wild card teams, as Shawn was talking about earlier, some of these other teams aren't playing so great either. The Marlins have really struggled. The Giants have had some big time ups and downs in the last few weeks as well. So the D-backs are still in a good position, and Mike Hazen likes what he sees, and he wants to reward the guys in that clubhouse and try to make this team better. He didn't make any comments that made it sound like the D-backs were going to be super aggressive, though. I didn't really get that sense from him. It was like a pretty clear we're buyers, but it wasn't like we're going to go all out or we're going to,
kind of hurt early on.
Well, no, he continued to walk back his comments a bit about how aggressive they were going to be, and he added context and clarification to it. He basically, I feel like it's what we've been saying this whole time. This team is good, and they feel like they have a good option this year with how everyone is playing to be in it. As much as it sucks at the trade deadline for so many teams to be still buyers, still in their division, or still within shouting distance of a playoff spot, that also means that there's a lot of parity in the league and in both leagues. It means that there's a lot of teams that are all around the same record, and nobody's really running away with anything. I feel like at this point in past years, we would be down 20 games to the Dodgers, and so would the rest of the National League West. So, this doesn't feel as bad of a situation, which makes it interesting for all of these teams because everybody feels like they have a chance, right? Mm-hmm. AL East right now, sorry, Shawn, I hate to say this, but it's fucking great to see the Yankees and the Red Sox at the bottom of the AL East right now, right? That is
Shawn's not a Red Sox fan anymore.
And the Yankees are below the Red Sox, so I'm fine with that.
That's right. I forgot about that. But I'm just saying, there's just so much fun to be had, and the Diamondbacks are one of the fun teams. It ultimately, though, it comes down to them overperforming. And our friend Jack Summers today brought up how the Diamondbacks are one of one of the biggest difference in expected batting stats versus their actual batting stats, which means
they've overperformed.
They've overperformed, and they've had a lot of luck on their side when it comes to their offense as well. But it doesn't mean that this team isn't going to be competitive or that they don't feel like they can make this team better at the trade deadline. It's just which of these teams that are in this wild card race can make themselves better than the other teams. And what is it going to take? How much of the future of this organization is it going to take to try to win this season? I think they'd make a lot of sacrifices. I think they would be willing to be as aggressive as Mike Hazen has kind of suggested he was going to be this whole time, but it's depending on the offer.
The return for Ahmed Rosario is Noah Syndergaard.
Huh.
That's the trade.
Oh, wow. That's a fascinating trade.
He's been god-awful,
Noah Syndergaard, I believe he's rehabbing right now in AAA, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Reno Aces might have played him yesterday or will play him soon. That's a fascinating trade.
Well, they won't anymore. Not on that franchise.
Probably it looks like this year with a 7.16 ERA and a 1.45 WHIP.
If that's all it took to improve a shortstop position, Ahmed Rosario is not great, but he's hitting 270. If all it took was Noah Syndergaard, that's a different indication than what we've been seeing on other prices so far.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. But the Diamondbacks do have their own trade deadline targets, as we've been discussing now for a few weeks, and we have some more targets. Today we're going We're going with some of your favorites. We're placating to our fan base, and we are going to talk today about the Diamondbacks targeting pitching and a bat. Of course, one of the things that Mike Hazen discussed today was that pitching would be their main priority, and I feel like we've known that this entire time. That's never been a secret, but he didn't put any emphasis on starting pitching being more important than bullpen or vice versa.
Yeah, so our first guy is one David Bednar, a guy that a lot of people have talked about in our chat, and we're finally appealing to the masses and talking about him on the show.
It's your guy, guys.
His stats this year are absolutely incredible. 1.15 ERA, a .95 WHIP. He's pitched 39 innings. I believe he has 19 saves for the Pirates this year. 10.8 Ks per nine, 2.1 walks per nine. He has a sparkling 1.98 FIP, which does suggest some overperformance. Maybe the 1.15 isn't going to be sustainable in the long term. But
what? How is that possible, Jesse?
The D-backs could deal with the 1.98, even if that's what it winds up being in the long term. Bednar is one of the best back end relievers in all of baseball. And yeah, I mean, the thought of having him in Arizona probably puts the minds of many Diamondbacks fans at ease.
I'd like to see it.
He's an absolute unit, too.
Every picture of him is so hot. Every picture of him is just
I was looking at photos for these graphics, and he's an absolute unit.
Yeah. I mean, he's got such closer energy, man.
Yeah, you want to talk about like a presence on the mound. David Bednar absolutely has that figured out. If we look at the pros and cons of bringing Bednar to Arizona, the pros, of course, he's elite, one of the best back-end relievers in baseball. I don't think there's any question. He's affordable. He's making $745,000 this year in pre-arbitration. Next year, he'll hit arbitration for the first time, so that salary will see a considerable jump from $745 going into next season, but still very reasonable. And he's controllable. How many years? He has 3 more years of control after this one, so you're getting 3.5 years of him.
All of the prospects at the Pirates for him. All of the we've talked about giving up a king's ransom for somebody as crazy as Ohtani or whatever. The Diamondbacks have never had this kind of guy. Well, no, I lie about that. They've actually gone out and got this guy several times. Then when he came over to the Diamondbacks, he ended up being horseshit. But I don't believe that about David Bednar. I think he's going to be awesome, and the Diamondbacks should make it a priority to make this man an Arizona Diamondback.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously, I guess Diamondbacks fans have been spurned by this before, so you fear that he comes over and doesn't perform like that. But I mean, I feel like this is the easiest way to make your team like significantly better with one player is by getting a closer that you can trust by going when you go to the bullpen, because it's something that this team does not have. Like it just having like just the trust factor, I feel like makes this team better, ignoring the fact that, I mean, obviously he's an amazing player and would be the best arm in the bullpen. But
plus it would be time to go to Bednar. Time to put the kids to Bednar. Time to blow out the candles and put out the Bednar. I don't know. There's lots of stuff we could do. Turn down the Bednar.
When you have Scott McGuff as a setup man, Bednar as a closer, turn out the candles and go to bed.
Go to bed, yeah.
Scott McGuff didn't look like much.
He did give up 4 runs in the
Okay, but no one on his team does. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, he's right.
Jesse, tell us about the cons.
He's right.
Yeah, so con number 1 is the prospect cost, which would absolutely be enormous. Con number 2 is a lack of playoff experience. He has pitched for the Pirates. And then con number 3 is once again prospect cost, because it will
that wasn't a mistake.
It
folks.
will cost an enormous amount to bring David Bednar to Arizona. We have a trade proposal.
How much? This much.
This is my best guess of like, I'm kind of towing the line here between like what the Pirates would ask for and what the Diamondbacks would be willing to offer. If I'm being honest, I think the Pirates would probably not do this trade.
They wouldn't want.
I would take that trade. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think D-backs fans probably maybe like this. Pirates fans, I don't think would like this, nor do I think the Pirates front office would like this. We have the Pirates getting Brandon Pfaadt, Ivan Melendez, and Dominic Fletcher
in a heartbeat.
I think people would maybe be okay. I mean, Brandon Pfaadt, like if he is a mid rotation starter, like trading 6 years of a mid rotation starter for 3.5 years of a closer, maybe you don't feel so great about that. But I think the jury's still out on.
Well, who needs a mid rotation starter when Zac Gallen is going to be pitching for the fucking Rangers in 2 years?
Can't believe, of all people at this table, that Jesse Friedman, who wrote an article on Go PHNX.com is saying anything about the Diamondbacks bullpen situation when they have historically been bad. Never have had they haven't had a guy like David Bednar in their bullpen that was pulling the kind of numbers that he is for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I don't care. I think that as far as this team goes, we talk about the future a lot. We talk about a lot of different things. We are on a ticking clock when it comes to Zac Gallen being a part of this team. And just today, Torey Lovullo said that when it came to like trade deadline acquisitions, that the one guy that like he really got excited about was Zac Gallen. He also brought up JD Martinez. He said he went into his office and like did like fist bumps when they got JD Martinez, which we all did that. But yes, when they got Zac Gallen, he was very, very excited about how good Zac Gallen could be and how good he could be for this organization for potentially a long time, right? So now we know Zac Gallen not here for so long. So he's not here for a long time, but he's here for a good time, and we need to make sure we maximize that, try to win a championship while Zac Gallen is still part of this team.
Another thing I want to say about this is the Pirates have tons of leverage here. Like, they don't have to move David Bednar. He's under control for 3.5 more years. Yeah. You could just as easily hold on to him and try this again next trade deadline when you might get pretty big offers then too, or even the trade deadline after that. Like, the Pirates hold all of the cards here. They have said that they are willing to listen to offers for David Bednar. That has been reported. They've also said that they're willing to listen on Mitch Keller, who is another all-star for them, really good starting pitcher. So I think they're just kind of doing their due diligence and seeing what kinds of offers are out there. My guess is that they're asking for the sun, moon, and stars for David Bednar at this point, and there's frankly no reason for them to take anything less than that. If you look at, like, I don't know, the Josh Hader trade from last season, the Brewers didn't actually get like a ton in that trade. I think this offer is quite a bit wealthier than that one, but I think we have to think that way because the Pirates just hold all of the cards here, and they're not the kind of team, as we saw with Brian Reynolds, they're not the kind of team to just like trade a piece just to trade a piece. Like, they're going to get what they want, or they're just going to move on. That's kind of what I expect them to do here.
And I feel like the Diamondbacks kind of are in that same position too. Like, the Diamondbacks don't really need. Again, I don't think
the Diamondbacks don't need a closer.
No,
right?
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was saying the Diamondbacks don't need to be desperate, right? Like, I understand wanting to improve your team and such, but I think at the end of the day, Mike Hazen isn't going to act in desperation when it comes to any of these trades. One of the things that worries me the most is we just had a very long, interesting conversation with Brent Strom about some improvements that he made to Brandon Pfaadt. And it seemed to those improvements translated over to him having a much better outing in his last start. And he will have one more outing before the trade deadline. Now, if he just goes out there and fucking shoves in that outing, what kind of position does the Diamondbacks put that in if another team now, in fact, wants Brandon Pfaadt as part of the trade package? Now, the change that Brent Strom made was moving Brandon Pfaadt to the other side of the plate, but then he went on a very long explanation in the dugout for Steve Gilbert that I eavesdropped on that talked about how basically he wanted Pfaadt to kind of change, like, to be more deceptive with his pitches and have those pitches kind of have a later break where you don't know if it's a fastball or changeup or curveball and such. And he talked about how moving him to the other side of the rubber helped with his arm angle and how that's going to improve him and being deceptive to pitchers and or to batters. And honestly, sometimes something as small as that can be the key for a guy like figuring it out a bit, right? He was also talking about like arm movement and stuff and saying like if you see this every time, then you have no idea what's going on. But he was saying, like, in regards to perhaps some of the tip pitching and or pitch tipping and stuff that they were doing, that maybe there was like a little bit of slower arm movement that then lets you see that a changeup or some sort of off-speed pitch is coming and such. So it was minor things that Brent Strom was talking about, but sometimes those little pieces of advice, that little wisdom, can be the thing that makes a pitcher figure it out. And Pfaadt right now, he still has a lot of value to me, and I don't like the idea of necessarily saying Pfaadt is just an easily discardable piece for this team, because I feel like he could be one of those guys that we as a fan base absolutely despise the organization for trading when he goes on to find success elsewhere, right? We always felt like he could be good, but we just never got to see him reach that potential, and that's a scary proposition. So Diamondbacks, though, not just looking at pitching. Again, we talk about starting pitching, relief pitching. We don't know exactly what they're going to target as a priority, but we also have another guy Valley native from here in Arizona, who the Diamondbacks might
heard of him?
Take a look at. I've heard of him. You heard of him?
I've heard of him.
Little belly action. Little Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger.
For, as you said, the Chicago Cubs that have been playing very good baseball, and a lot of that is due to Bellinger and his play.
If we look at Cody Bellinger's stats, I mean, he's sort of been the real deal for the Cubs this year. 314 average entering today, 363 on base, 540 slugging percentage, 14 homers, 45 RBI, 2.7 WAR. That's in 69 games this year. So
nice.
He has missed a few games this year. So I mean, that's in less than half a season he's put up those numbers. So he is having sort of like the typical Cody Bellinger year from, I guess, his first 3 seasons in the majors. He's sort of reverted back to that guy. I do think there are some warning signs. Like I don't really view this as being entirely sustainable. He has a 333 BABIP, which is significantly higher than his career average of 283. His WOBA is 379 compared to an expected WOBA of 325, which is an enormous gap. So I don't think, at least I would hope, that the Cubs have some awareness here and aren't trading Cody Bellinger with the intentions of like teams viewing him in light of his actual current stats, because I don't really think there's a lot of evidence that they're sustainable. But if you're looking for, the JD Martinez-esque jolt for the D-backs lineup, Cody Bellinger is probably your best bet. And he is left-handed, which is maybe not ideal, but his splits this year are such that you could maybe get by that. If we look at the pros and cons for bringing Cody Bellinger to the Diamondbacks, he's arguably the best available hitter. I guess Shohei Ohtani would be that guy, but who really knows if Shohei Ohtani is actually available? I mentioned the platoon splits. Although he is a left-handed hitter, he's actually hit lefties better this season, so maybe you wouldn't be so concerned about that side of things. He is an Arizona native, which is a fun thing. On the con side, there is some financial cost here. He is due to make $17.5 million this season. So it'd be around $6 million or so for the rest of the year. Not too outrageous. He has a mutual option for next year, which probably will not be upheld. He's probably going to opt out and try to get a bigger deal. He also, as some people might remember from his days with the Dodgers, like Cody Bellinger has not been great in the playoffs in his career. Don't have those numbers in front of me, but I think it was like a 600 OPS, something like that. And then finally, he is a rental. So on the con side, if you do trade Cody Bellinger, you're probably going to have to give up some relatively big time assets, and you're only getting him for the rest of the year.
Yep. And I don't know if the Diamondbacks necessarily need to do that. I think most people that have been watching this team over the last few weeks, their offense can be stagnant at times, but like we saw today, they were still able to put up 7 runs in a game that looked like an absolute blowout at one point, and still felt that way. But I don't feel like the Diamondbacks have as much positional need or are in as much of a need for positional players as they are in pitching. Pitching wins you championships, and they have far too many needs at pitching right now for that to not be their primary focus. But like you said, Bellinger would be a fun.
You want to package him with Stroman, like Jacob's saying.
There you go.
Bellinger and Stroman.
Yeah, why
there
not?
You go.
Why not?
For Carson Kelly,
yes,
and for Pavin Smith.
That's it.
And Jose Ruiz. Nope, we DFA'd him, so never mind. We'll have to figure out somebody else to throw in that trade. No, we have a real trade package here for you, and of course, I don't know why we keep throwing Ivan Melendez in these, because it infuriates me every time. But
it infuriates the chat too.
When you have a guy that's hitting the ball, smashing the ball,
he strikes out at 40% rate.
He strikes out at like
is it like 34, 35?
Yeah.
It's not quite 40. It is.
Yeah.
It is a little high. But I asked around a little bit, and I was told that if the Cubs were to trade a Cody Bellinger or anyone, they'd maybe be looking for a corner infield. They don't really have any clear options for the future at first base or third base. So hence Ivan Melendez. Slade Ciccone we also have in here, as well as Dominic Fletcher. I'm not sure how much Fletcher necessarily fits the Cubs' needs. Maybe they would rather another arm instead of him at the end of the day.
Jesse,
but
his name's Dominic Fletcher. People in Chicago would love him. Are you kidding me? They would love him just based on the name alone. He's also the greatest Italian baseball player to ever play the game. I don't know why people forgot about that. And so any team that receives him it should just be a 1-for-1 trade. It should just be Cody Bellinger for Dominic Fletcher straight across, but I understand throwing these other names in there for sure.
I mean, maybe if you took Fletcher out of it, like Melendez and Ciccone, I mean, maybe it kind of depends on how the Cubs feel about Melendez. I guess he would kind of be the big get there. It's only half a season of Cody Bellinger, though. Like, theoretically, it shouldn't cost that much, but if this is something along the lines of what it actually took, that wouldn't shock me.
And now, since they're only 4.5 games out of the wild card, who the hell knows if the Cubs will even be sellers at the trade deadline? Because they do have 2 of the best pitchers in the National League as part of their starting rotation. And again, Belly's been good for them this year. But the Diamondbacks definitely need to figure it out. Again, the home cooking today wasn't very good for Zac Gallen and this team. So hopefully they can get things figured out. They have an off day tomorrow, and then they're back at it on Friday against the Seattle Mariners. Speaking of home cooking, though, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not cooking at home anymore. I don't want to cook for myself or my family anymore, thanks to Factor Meals, because Factor Meals have absolutely spoiled me. I don't know what magic goes into these meals that they send me that in 2 minutes are just absolutely delicious and incredible. But
they're pretty incredible.
I mean, especially for these 2 young gentlemen next to me. I mean, I can't imagine what a godsend these meals are because they're delicious, they're flavor packed and healthy. And I think that's the biggest thing is like whenever we're trying to grab a bite to eat, especially like with a show like today, it's not healthy. Like we kid ourselves and get a sub sandwich and it's got tomato and lettuce on it. We're good, right? But no,
you want the bacon and mayonnaise. That's
right. Factor Meals are actually they're actually delicious and they're actually healthy for you and they're approved by dietitians.
Their smoothies,
their smoothies are great. And on the go,
I've had one for lunch basically every day the last few days.
Yeah, I think we're all going to start looking pretty hot around this office, dieting like this.
You can start. I'll keep.
All right, but I'll tell you this much: they have a wide selection of food, whether it's breakfast or lunch or dinner, whatever you need. They got things for breakfast like apple cinnamon pancakes, bacon and cheddar egg bites, and potato bacon and egg breakfast skillets, and all of those are excellent. So. Again, just check out everything Factor has to offer. They also have their cold-pressed juices, shakes, and smoothies that you can check out. And you can rest assured that you're making a sustainable choice. They offset 100% of their delivery emissions, source 100% renewable electricity for their production sites and offices, and they feature sustainably sourced seafood in all of their meals. This July, you get Factor. Enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in 2 minutes, no prep, no mess at all. Head to factormeals.com/PHNX D-backs50 and use code PHNX D-backs50 to get 50% off. That's code PHNX D-backs50 at factorsmeals.com/PHNX D-backs50 to get 50% off. And of course, don't hesitate. If you hate cooking for yourself as much as I do, make sure to check out Factors right now. Also, if you live in Arizona or pretty much any state in the United States with the way that this heat wave is going on, you need a good pair of sunglasses. And of course, check out our friends at Shady Rays that make gear built to last with premium polarized shades. They also have an insane lost and broken replacement plan. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. They have your back long after you purchase. They also have a wonderful exchange program where if you do not love your Shady Rays, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. I've said this before, but I have like 10 pairs of sunglasses that I used to rotate around based on the colorful outfits that I wear. And I don't even care about if they match anymore. My Shady Rays are so much superior to my other sunglasses that it's all I wear. And they also do wonderful things for the community, like building play sets for pediatric cancer patients. They also provide young adults with MS outdoor adventures of a lifetime. So Shady Rays is doing something to impact your community and others like it for now and for years to come. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. And while you're looking good in your sunglasses, look good in a polo shirt from our friends at Pins and Aces, of course. I need to stress how much if your polo living in Arizona does not breathe well, does not stretch, and is not light, throw it in the trash and go buy yourself a new one from Pins and Aces. They have wonderful designs that are right up my alley. So if you like ridiculous patterns like I wear all the time, you will love what they have. They also have regular clothes for adults like this, like a black shirt, like a black polo that doesn't have a bunch of bongs and stuff on it. So, but they're a family-owned golf and apparel business, and we absolutely love their stuff. So make sure to check them out. We always get compliments on our Phoenix shirt that we wear and all of our stuff from Pins and Aces. So make sure to check out the official golf apparel partner of PHNX in ALLCITY and their amazing polos, hats, golf bags, and everything you need. For the links, check out pinsandaces.com and use code PHNX to receive 15% off your order, and you will get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. That's all we got, guys. Tomorrow we are back here at 1 p.m., and then we will be back here on Friday with our post-game show, so make sure to join us for all of that. Hopefully, once again, the Diamondbacks can put things together here before next week, because that looming trade deadline really feels like a scary thing for this team as things
what are we going to talk about when it's over?
No, I don't know. Baseball.
Like,
maybe we'll have fun conversations.
What if the D-backs came and just didn't do anything, and then the deadline came, and like, oh, I guess the fucking season's over. Like, that'd just be such a shitty way for this to end. You better make some damn moves, Mike. Do make some damn moves.
Oh man. Well,
it still feels like what the D-backs do, like this weekend and starting next week. Like, Mike hasn't really come out and said this directly. I don't know if it would really make sense for a GM to do that. You don't want to put a ton of pressure on your players by saying, like, yeah, absolutely, what happens over the next 5 days is going to dictate what we do at the trade deadline.
Or you're gone, maybe. Maybe we're sellers and you're part of the package.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't feel great.
I don't know if it would be in Mike's best interest to say that, so he hasn't really said that, but I still kind of feel like, I mean, if the D-backs go out and take care of business this weekend against the Mariners, that could move things in the positive direction toward being a little bit more active. If they go out and play like the team we've seen the last few weeks, you might be drifting into like, yeah, we'll like trade for a 8th inning reliever type, but we're not really going to push the chips in much more than that. I think that is a plausible outcome next week.
Torrey was asked today about like the feeling and mood around this time of the year, like guys being worried about their position or being worried if they could potentially be traded. And he brought up that this team has been sellers in the past few seasons, but now it feels good to be in a buyer's position. I just hope that good feeling maintains and that they actually are buyers when this trade deadline comes around. But you can keep it locked right here, because we will have everything you need on the trade deadline, and anything that happens with the Diamondbacks, we will keep you updated on that. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. Shawn is at Shawn_DePaz. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. That's Friedman. I don't spell it enough, I guess. Jacob is at Jacob_Franklin4. And now that I know he's the 4th best Jacob Franklin out there, that's easy to remember. But
Jacob is JACOB. Franklin is FR. FRANKLIN.
All you need to do is
Derek
follow
is
at PHNX D-backs. That's where you go for all of your memes and all of your funny tweets. And of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Did we have a new diehard in the chat?
Oh yeah, all text. He's been a fan for a while, but he said that he finally became a diehard. So welcome to the fam, all text.
Yes, awesome.
He's been watching for a minute.
I'll
let him say Louis too.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not. Like, maybe if we were playing any other team right now, I'll text, but
no, I'll text we love you. Is a real one.
Yeah, you are a real one. You're all real ones. We all appreciate all you guys for showing up. We thank you again for your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when Zac Gallen actually shoves it home.